Privet Truzia, Captain Figurine, back with another video, and today we will take a closer look at the Berdan 2 rifle. One of the rifles you can unlock with the gold tickets you get through the Premium Battlepass on level 50. Why did I choose the Berdan rifle? Because it's a very nice black powder rifle and the smoke trail it does is just epic. This weapon is a lot of fun to use if you like bolt action rifles, and it has super heavy damage on closer range, so you're instantly gonna one shot on close range. On 100 meter you can see the damage is close to the damage we have on a Mosin 9130 on 100 meter. But I guess on up to like 50 or 75 meter, you can kill people by shooting at their feet. Because this weapon comes with a 24.1 base damage, so that's kinda crazy. But there are 3 different weapons we can choose from. We can go for a Schmeisser, you can go for the Patterson device on the Springfield, or you can go for the Gewehr 1888. So a lot of cool options. But I play a lot of the Soviets and I think this is such a cool rifle, so I had to pick it. Sadly it has the sound of a Mosin, is a little bit unlucky, and I hope they're gonna add a little bit more of a bass sound to the boom. So hopefully we're gonna see that. But as always guys, first we need to get some background information about the Berdan, right? The weapon was designed by Herman Berdan. He was an American engineer, innovator, military officer, marksman, so quite a known guy. So they first produced the 1868 pattern, the Berdan 1, over in the US. But this was still a hammerless trapdoor breech loader system, so didn't see a lot of use. They ordered around 30,000 of them, infantry and cavalry versions, but they didn't see a lot of use. And I think the cavalry version never really got adopted for military service. But in 1870 they came up with the second pattern Berdan rifle, so the Berdan 2, and they produced about 3 million of these guns because they really liked them. And we had 4 different models. We had the standard one for the infantry, which is probably the one we have here in game. Even we don't have volley sights on this one, because if we take a closer look at the rear sight, we cannot see a volley sight there. The front volley sight would be placed at the front barrel band, so we don't have them on this weapon. You might wonder, what are volley sights used for? Volley sights were used back in the days when a lot of soldiers were fighting with muskets and were also fighting in a line on the battlefield. At that time you wouldn't really aim at a specific soldier, more in a general direction, and would fire on a command. They used the volley sights as a tool to rain down bullets on around 2000 yards. And you can use this as a suppressive tool against enemy troop movements, and you would just fill an acre with some rounds. This shooting practice was also used in the First World War. When the First World War started, some nations still used it. Because when it started, it wasn't filled with trenches, right? So it could see some use, but as soon as they started building trenches everywhere, this shooting practice became kinda useless and volley sights didn't see any further use. But still a cool thing to know. So yeah, then we had the Dragoon rifle, the Dragoon version of it. It was a little bit shorter than the infantry one. So this one could be a Dragoon version because it has a bayonet attachment. You can see that at the front of the muzzle. That small little square, it would hook up to your bayonet and would fix that, right? So it could be a Dragoon or the standard infantry one. Then we had the Corsac one that had no trigger guard and just a little button down there. And we had the cavalry one. The cavalry one, of course, you did not have a bayonet, and it was a very short version of this weapon. Obviously, because if you want to use it from the horseback, not like the Dragoons just use their horses for mobility and then fight like infantry, so they had just slightly shorter versions, so it's a little bit more handy on the horseback. As you might know, we also have the Dragoon for the Mosin, and the Mosin was also the weapon that replaced the Berdan as a standard issued rifle for Russia. As I said, this is a black powder weapon. With black powder we don't get the same speed and power on that bullet, so you don't have that high of a muzzle velocity. You can see that in the stats. But it uses the 10.75 by 58 rim cartridge, so that's quite a bullet coming at you. And with that awesome looking smoke trail, this thing will scare the hell out of the Germans. They produced around 3 million of these guns, and mainly they produced them in Tula and in the Izhevsk arsenal. They produced them at Tula at 1874 and at the Izhevsk arsenal at 1878, and these were the main factories that produced these guns. So is this worth as a battle pass weapon to pick up? First, I wish we could unlock all the weapons, but I'm not sure if that's not something that's coming in the future, because if you unlock one of these weapons with a gold ticket, it does not disappear. So maybe we can go for multiple of them, or you know, unlock the different ones over the time, but we don't know at the moment, but hopefully that's coming. Is it worth to pick the Berdan, or should you go for another weapon? I think the Berdan is worth it if you like bolt action rifles, if you want to have like a very classy, cool looking musket style weapon for your Russian arsenal. But I think the Normandy weapons we got, they're a little bit more powerful because they're semi-automatic, and if you like semi-automatic guns, I will probably go for something in the Normandy campaign. For example, I play a lot of the single shot bolt action rifles, even if I unlocked a lot of semi-automatic guns or a lot of submachine guns. Just I prefer to play them, and I normally equip some of my guys with semi-automatic guns for other situations, but I really like the bolt action, so obviously I had to go for the Berdan because it's a lot of fun to use. And it is such a good looking rifle, because this weapon is from back in the days when they had still time to produce guns, because it wasn't war going on, so they were short on resources, short on time, short on kind of everything. So yeah, the rifle had to look good as well, so Berdan, beautiful one. But hey, if this is a weapon that appeals to you because of the looks of it or because of all the history of it, hey, you can clearly go for a Berdan. Because I think Enlisted for me is anyways just collecting a lot of cool World War II weapons we have and play around with them. Because right now the game doesn't track any stats you got, so there isn't any KDA or how many wins you got or something like that. Also, we don't have any ranked system, so we shouldn't go over competitive on this game right now and just have some fun with the tools we have. At least that's my opinion. You can use the Berdan on any soldier that can use a rifle. So it's a very versatile gun and you can use it on your preferred class. As always guys, I hope this video was useful to you and you know more about the Berdan 2 now. And if you like this content and if you want to know more about all the cool World War II tools we have in Enlisted and that are coming to Enlisted, stay tuned and I see you next time guys. Have a good one. Captain Figurine out.